Welcome to Can I Park Here? Brought to you by FindAFashionTruck.com. Nashay and Estrell's mission is to inspire future and existing small business owners. They don't claim to be experts. They're simply trying to figure this all out, just like you.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Can I Park Here podcast that can be found on StartAFashionTruck.com. My name is Nashay, and I'm here with
Estrell.
All right, you guys. I hope you all had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I know I did. My mom celebrated her 60th birthday, and I got to see Estrell in Chicago. She was so excited to see me.
Now everybody knows that has to be a lie. Once again, you came here and forced me to do things that I did not want to do, like hang out with you. But
we had some delicious...
I got to see your mom, so I'm okay with that.
We had some delicious apple pancakes from the original House of Pancakes. Come on, that was good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. She tore it up, people. Tore it up. But anywho, we've got somebody really cool on today, or actually people, a husband and wife that has a children's boutique, which is really cool. I don't think we've ever had a children's boutique on here before, have we? Am I just not thinking of one?
There may have been one. I'm not sure, so I don't want to lie. But yeah, Natalie and Steve, they're the owners of Alice and Hamish Mobile Boutique. And let me tell you, okay, they have a themed mobile boutique, which I think is so cool. And the theme is Alice in Wonderland. It's awesome. And my all-time favorite thing from the interior is the cut-off door that they used as the cash wrap. But so if you guys go to their website, you'll be able to see the inside of the truck. But yes, the Alice in Wonderland theme is awesome.
It really is. And they have like some stuff for adults. Like I love the mugs they have, that has like, I don't know what that style would be called, but it's pretty cool. But it's, for adults, and they have like bags and books and everything else that has this kind of, it's like a pen and ink style illustration with a hint of color, which I really love. So, so their story is pretty cool, and I think you guys will like it.
Here we go.
Hello, we have Natalie and Steve here from the Alice and Hamish Fashion Truck. Welcome, you guys.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Before we get into you guys' beautiful fashion truck, can you guys tell us just a little bit about you and about your background, and then kind of how you or why you decided to open the fashion truck?
Yeah, definitely. I have a fashion merchandising degree from LIM in New York, and when I moved back from New York to Scranton, I knew I wanted to open a boutique. So we started pursuing the idea last year, and unfortunately we couldn't raise enough funds to open a brick and mortar, so we looked into the mobile route and we just decided to go with it. So we're the first one in the area, and it's been going well. And Steve runs the truck during the week, and then I work still in fashion, doing design and product development for a women's line.
Oh, wow.
So that's a little bit.
And so what, of course, there's like all types of fashion trucks out here, from like accessories to women fashion to T-shirts. What made you decide to open up a children's fashion truck?
We went with the children's route. There's not many children's boutiques in the area. And I have a niece and a nephew that are little, so I always had a hard time shopping small for them at local businesses. So I'm like, let's just do this.
And what about you, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea, of getting the business together. And when we were looking into the mobile, I have a big background into, I guess, vehicles, anything like that, as well as, business management. So, we looked at it and I said, why not we go on the road? I mean, if we decide that we want to go somewhere down the line and move to a different town, then get up and go. The business comes with us.
And so opening up the actual brick and mortar store was never in the works for you guys? You just went straight for the mobile option?
We pursued it, and then when we couldn't get enough funds to do the brick and mortar, we just put our energy into the mobile boutique.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, a little bit before I started recording, I was talking a little bit about the style of your fashion truck. Like, how did you guys come up with the design of the interior and the exterior? Because it's really cute.
Thank you. We definitely wanted to do a theme. I hate walking into a store, especially a children's boutique, and it's just white walls and there's no theme to it. So we went with an Alice in Wonderland theme. That's where the name comes from. And we did like little quirky things throughout the interior. Like we have roses on the back wall to incorporate the theme. And then we also sell tea and local honey. So the whole Mad Hatter part of it is there.
Yeah, because we saw the tea and we're like, oh, wow, that's an interesting combination, like children's clothes and tea, but now it all kind of comes together.
Yeah, it all comes together. And it's good because so many people like to come in the truck that don't have children.
Right.
So we get
I was just
them
about
with
to
the tea and the
say.
honey. So it's,
Because I
it ended up working out really well.
I was looking on your website and I was like, oh, Nishay, that have tea. I love tea. And then I thought to myself, I didn't say it to Nishay, but I thought, I'm like, it probably would be real creepy if I just went on a kid's truck just to get some tea.
But we'll definitely, for the listeners out there, know that in the show notes we'll include pictures because, it is definitely themed. Like, I'm looking at one picture now, it has, like, flowers on the back wall, and then, of course, everything is themed. So, like, if you go in there, you feel like you're in this, I don't know, like a special environment, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, people love it.
We went as far as even, we did a faux tin ceiling and we did all the wainscoting on the walls, so we had to bring it so, well, it wasn't creepy.
Right.
Okay, so let's just jump into the interior. One of my favorite things, I'm looking at a picture on Instagram right now. One of my favorite things is the half door as the cash wrap. That is so adorable. I love it.
I know. That came from Steve had a car garage in the area and they were tearing it down. So we actually took one of the doors from there and cut it in half.
It was about a probably 200-year-old carriage barn that we were getting rid of. So we tried saving as much that we could out of it. And I have a knack for old wooden doors, so I still have a stack of them, but yeah, we decided to go, cut one down, make it the wrap, and just make it inviting, and tie into the theme with all the doors in the room and everything, too. So
yes, I love it.
Now, how much work did you guys have to do, and then how much did you have to outsource?
We didn't outsource much. We had help with the motor work and logo design, and we had the wrap done. But we did all of the build out inside, and it was really fun. So if there's any, upcoming fashion boutiques that need help with the build out, we would love to help. We really like doing that.
And then how do you guys find the best places to go in order to have a successful weekend? In Pennsylvania, are there kind of a lot of events that happen on the weekends? Do you all tend to do more private events or festivals? What do you find that works best in your particular area?
Usually, for the week, we usually go down by, the main center of town by our courthouse and everything, which seems to work well because, so many people are they're on their lunch for their hour break or whatever. And they stop in the truck because, usually we have a couple of food trucks that are around us as well. So, they could get their order and then come in and shop. And it seems working out, in town. When there's different events going on, it's hard. There's so many events that people start, and they really don't know how to organize them. So, it's learning to to see which events are actually worth it. We do private events as well, which work out. But yeah, some of the events anymore, it all depends. You have to really look into them because everybody thinks they're an event coordinator these days.
Right. I know, right?
It was like one of our first few events, and they put us in like the children's area instead of with the other vendors, and that did not work out so well. So it's kind of like now when we go into events, we're like, hey, put us with the vendors, not in the children's area. So it's a learning process.
Right, because I'm guessing in the children's area, are there very many adults, or do they just drop the kids off there?
It's pretty much drop your kids off and run.
So we're not babysitters.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
And like the kids don't have parents do, so yeah, that didn't work out well.
I want to backtrack a little bit and go back to the truck itself. Now, when you guys decided that you wanted to go mobile, what process did you start in order to look for the truck? Like, where did you go to try to find what you needed? Because I know a lot of people, when they first start off, the problem is, okay, where do I find a truck? How much do I want to set aside for the budget for this truck? So what did you guys do?
I mean, I'm avid for going through Craigslist all the time for anything because I'm always looking for different projects. So that was pretty much the main source, is just, going online, looking through the Craigslist all around and, coming across a few. And then we came across this one that we got, and I couldn't pass it up because I actually ended up trading one of my old diesel cars for it. So.
Oh, really? Was it an even trade?
Down Delaware and traded for an old 84 Volkswagen Rabbit diesel, and, got it back and started the process of getting another motor and pretty much, doing most of the work, motor-wise and everything. And a good friend of mine has a shop locally, so he helped out with, some wiring and different things that I actually didn't even want to get into. So I figured let him do it. He does it every day, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we got lucky with the truck.
Because I think that's probably the most difficult part of getting started, is finding a reliable vehicle that's not going to break the bank.
Right.
And a lot of times too, these step vans and all the old delivery trucks, they're just beat from years of running. Or guys get them with being contractor business, and they don't. I mean, heck, this one we got actually had some house wire in there running one of the heaters. So, it was strip it down to nothing and put everything new in it. But you could spend your, $4 or $5 grand and above, and then you're still going to have to put work in it. So the key was getting it cheap enough and just go right out from the start and get another motor and get, and put everything new. So you're not, you might be able to drive it home and run it for a few months or a year, and then you're in the shop trying to get it fixed.
The mileage is scary because every time you see one of those trucks, it's almost 200,000 miles on them.
Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely, I mean, the motor that was in it ran, but we opted to go bigger with the motor, and I think it has about 50,000 on the motor I got for it, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
And like when we were looking for a truck, definitely height was an issue because we have some friends that are tall. So that was an issue. And then it had to be like our downtown area, it's meter parking. So we didn't want to pay for 2 meters. So we had to stay within like a certain size there. So that's just some things to watch for when you're looking at.
As a tall person, I appreciate that.
I knew you were going to say something about that.
I mean, because I'm 6'1", so I have been in some fashion trucks where I have to kind of duck a little bit, and then you're not going to stay in there that long because you're
Right.
uncomfortable, right? So then you lose a sale that way. So
Yeah, my one friend, she's a little above 6 foot, and she came in for the first time, and she had her sunglasses on the top of her head. I'm like, Ashley, you need to take your sunglasses off. And like, we built this truck around you.
right.
There's no room for sunglasses.
And that was tough too, because we had to make sure when we did the ceiling, the lowest profile ceiling, the hardwood floor, we went through probably a dozen different kinds to make sure that the thickness wasn't too much, so we wouldn't lose too much space once we built it out. So we got, that was a process of going through and making sure everything still measured out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to ask about the logo. Did you all have like a local designer do it, or how did you?
We had we work with a local graphic designer on that. Yeah. That's something that I would leave to the professionals, definitely.
So when it comes to shopping in the truck, I know it's a children's truck. So do you allow a lot of children in the truck at once? How do you handle that? Because kids tend to touch things, pull things off the shelves. How do you handle that?
Yeah, sometimes when we're at these events, I get so nervous, and like you have to watch, because like they might take something that's small and the parent wouldn't even realize. So when we do like large events like that, we always make sure there's 2 of us on just to watch. But yeah, I get so nervous sometimes.
Because even with just things getting damaged, or if the kid is eating like an ice cream cone or something like that, and then they touch some clothes and get the clothes dirty.
Lucky we haven't had anything like that ever happen.
And certain, depending on the event too, we actually have one of the signs I made up for the outside to basically say like no food or drinks, because they bring it in, but at least it's there to kind of say, okay, watch your children.
Right. Any items that are like fragile, we'll put up top. Like the honey is in glass containers, so we put that on top so they can't even touch it.
Now, do you all give them like stickers or something to keep like the kids preoccupied, like stickers or balloons or like?
We tried the whole balloon thing, and it just didn't work out for us.
God, I had like a question in my brain. It just fell out. I was on you guys' Instagram feed, and so how do you all kind of decide like the style of the photographs? Because I feel like they all have like kind of a similar look and feel. Like you definitely know your brand. So do both of you all take pictures for one of you guys? But how did you figure out like what, I guess style you wanted to like go with?
I guess,
or is it just natural?
Kind of both take photos. But yeah, I really never put too much thought into the style behind them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like sometimes it's just natural, because if you're taking pictures of things that you like and like you gravitate to certain types of colors, because even like when I look at like the colors and everything just seems to kind of flow together. So yeah, I think for some people it comes natural. But I've seen other Instagram feeds where it's kind of like all over the place. But you guys have like a really like fun, inviting one. And it has like muted colors. So I just wanted to know if there was any, if you guys kind of planned it out or not.
I really didn't plan that out, but okay.
Well, that's good, because you don't have to work too hard at it. You just take pictures and post them. That's pretty good.
Sometimes we use Instagram filters, sometimes we don't, though. It all depends. But I've been noticing, like, on some Instagram accounts, and I started doing it last week, when they post, like, 3 photos in a row that, like, look cute together. But I feel like your whole feed has to be like that.
Yes, in order for it to work. And I feel like that takes commitment, right?
It does, yeah. Yeah. And I did it twice last week, and I'm like, oh, this is difficult. Because then I did one photo, and it shifted everything, and I'm like, oh, well, there goes that idea.
Well, even like the last, I'll have to post this on the show notes too, but the collection that you put up, like with the bag and the mug, like that kind of style of art, I love the colors and everything. I'm not even a kid. I don't even have children, but I'd buy it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Alice in Wonderland collection, that's for adults, I would say. Like the mug. We do have kids that buy it, but that's like part of our adult, okay, I'm in here buying things for my kids, so I'll buy this for myself thing.
Yeah, because I'm like, I want that.
Where do you source your products from?
So we go to shows in New York, which we were talking about it the other day, and I don't know if we want to go to anymore, just because I feel like that's when like people around us will have the same products, and that's kind of what we're dealing with right now.
Mainly in the toy aspect.
Yeah.
You know, these smaller, these companies at the shows, these big box store type deals are also there, and they don't deal with the rep from the area, so the rep in our area,
they
chooses,
have no idea who
chooses not to find out who in the area really has it besides us, even if we were the first. Mm-hmm. And then you're working with, okay, this store is getting 700 pieces and we're getting 10, so they're getting a better deal, and it's getting to be aggravating in a way because.
And like the clothing we've been fine with. We try to work with small independent designers, so we don't really have any territory issues there. It's more toys that we do.
And I guess it's tricky. Like, there aren't really many independent designers making toys, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We tried working with a few, and it seems like the stuff didn't really sell. So, yeah.
And then they never really contact you back to see if you want to place new orders. So they're kind of like, kind of out there. So
I'm assuming that, like, if you source from like local designers, the nice thing about that is they're not necessarily selling to the big box ones because they can't like fulfill those large orders. So then, are you guys then kind of guaranteed to like have, like the one of a kind pieces in the area?
Yeah, definitely. And the only problem is with small designers and everything. The past 2 seasons, we put so much money into 2 lines, and we didn't end up getting the goods because there was production delays, fabric delays. So by the time they got production in, it was too late in the season. So that's just something that you have to be careful with. Always have a backup plan.
Yeah. And then do you mostly do wholesale, or do you do wholesale and consignment?
We only do wholesale, and we do work with like a lot of local vendors, and I'd rather just buy the product directly from them versus doing consignment. And we try to bring in as many local vendors as possible from our area that, make bows, headbands, hats, stuff like that.
I know, and it's weird as like a local designer, both Estrella and I guess could be considered local designers. It is kind of tricky making sure like you can kind of keep up with the demand, right?
Right.
And I think, because I'm sure we have like a lot of local designers possibly listening to this, but I think, Steve, what you said earlier was kind of key too, where when you want, if they want to make money, they need to make sure that they contact like vendors back and be like, hey, would you like to buy more?
Right.
There has to be some sort of follow-up.
I mean, one of the toys that we had for a while, we didn't even know that they ended up putting more into their line for the next season. And I mean, it was one of those things we sold a decent amount and then it just died down. And, it was a little slow on that product at the end, but we didn't know. We had to go searching for them, that they came out with a couple different designs. And I'm like, well, that,
wouldn't you contact your existing accounts? I don't know. So that kind of boggles my mind.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice.
Well, because I had some experience with that, like with like the wall hangings that I make. I
Mhm.
sell to certain local, stores, but when I make new stuff, it's like I have to think, okay, well, do I have enough to sell to them plus sell on my site,
True.
Right.
Yeah.
or is this the style that they're looking for? So
Right.
because like I
Right.
have one particular retailer that they have a certain aesthetic and they only want specific things. So if my new stuff doesn't fall into that category, it's like what's the point of contacting them that,
Right.
hey, I got
Right.
new
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
That
So
makes
I
sense.
guess it
Yeah.
depends, or they
Yeah.
could just be lazy.
Yeah. But
So-
it's like, but you know what? But the thing about it is like, I think the key for local businesses or local vendors, or excuse me, local, I guess, handmade crafters or whatever, is like, it never hurts to ask because all the people could say, the vendors could say is no,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah. No, that's pretty cool though. And it's like it's telling me that I should like reach out to some of the people that I've worked with too, because I'm like, I don't know why I don't send them anything. I admit I'm guilty of that. Like after they buy something, maybe 2, 3 months later, I'll send them something.
Yeah.
But really, it should be as soon as I get some new stuff. And so for you too, Astral, it's like we should like go ahead and be like, hey, if we can make multiple, like, hey, we have new stuff.
Yeah, or just like a quick like follow up to see how everything is going. Like I love when designers do that and everything.
Yeah.
It just shows that they care about you, I feel like.
Right. And then I was just curious, like, is it through just social media or newsletters or, or anything else? Like, how do people know where to find you? Like, how do you guys make sure that you have like a good number of people that are showing up to like some of your events?
Definitely social media
Yeah.
has a big part, and like Facebook and everything. Like we'll post our weekly truck schedule there. But for the people that don't have Facebook, we try to also post it on our Facebook and everything.
Mm,
Or, I mean, on our website, sorry. Um, but yeah, we definitely rely a lot on social media.
okay. And I know it's, yeah, and you guys have everything too, because we've talked to some trucks before too, and they're like either they just rely on Facebook or just rely on Instagram. But I see you guys are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so you're trying to build a following in each place, which is
Yeah,
pretty cool. And on Twitter too, I think it's key what you guys do very well is like instead of just having, I guess, stuff just like forwarded from Facebook and Instagram, you also like take the time to, post on Twitter. So it's just not like a feed of like things coming
Right.
from other social media sites.
yeah, every once in a while. I mean, it's so much easier just to post directly from Instagram, but every once in a while I'm like, okay, I have to do Twitter today.
I know,
that is how I feel all the time. Like, oh, Twitter.
I know.
I know. I love Twitter though. It's so interesting. Twitter has like a lot of possibilities, but you do have to have that commitment to it, right? Because the
Yeah,
Twitter is
definitely.
more of like the conversation piece, Instagram is more of like the, photograph piece, and then
Right.
Facebook is kind of like this weird in between, but as far as like having your stuff shared and go viral, like it's probably the best place for it, right? Um,
Definitely, yeah.
I
Yeah.
know the shade hates me because every time like we have to post something, like even when the podcasts come out and I promote them, I always forget about Twitter. And she's
I'm
like,
like, what?
you forgot about Twitter. What are you doing?
Now, do you all do, because, of course, there's like Periscope and Snapchat where you can almost do like these live video feeds. Do you all ever do that at any of your events?
We've never done that.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Maybe our next event we'll give that a shot.
No, and I guess it's like I'm assuming it's tricky too because and let me know if I have this wrong or not, but sometimes you guys work together, but sometimes you all work solo. So when you have like a crowd in there, you don't necessarily, I'm assuming, have time to like even take pictures of what's going on because you're
Right.
just focusing on the people in the truck, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, focusing eyes on 10 people, making sure nobody pockets something.
I know, right?
Understandable.
Talking to one and staring at the other one.
Right.
No, but a lot of the adults will be like, "Did he take anything?" Like if her son is like wandering, "Did he take anything?" We're like, "No, he's okay."
And then I'm just curious, just for the future mobile boutiques out there, do you guys have any lessons learned that you wanted to kind of share?
We're in the Northeast, so we get cold winters, and we really didn't have a plan for this winter until January. So definitely, figure out beforehand like what you're gonna do for the winter season, like when it's snowing and stuff. We ended up doing a pop-up shop like about 45 minutes away from us that was really good. But yeah, we really didn't in the beginning have a plan, what we were going to do.
Well, yeah,
So,
I mean, even in the beginning, we had warmer weather here in December still, but everybody's mindset is it's winter, so we're not going outside even if it's 70 degrees.
yeah.
So it was kind of, seeing what to go about, and the pop-up shop ended up being our, best plan for this past winter.
So yeah, we'll definitely do that again next winter too.
And where was it located?
We did it in Hawley, so it's about 45 minutes away from Scranton. It's in a renovated silk mill, so there's all different small businesses in the building, so there's a lot of traffic all the time up there. So I knew that's what we needed instead of, being out in the truck on the street hoping someone would walk by.
Right. Now, do you guys also sell a lot on your website?
I wish we could do more on the website, but yeah, I mean, we try, and a lot of people come in, they're like, can we buy off the website? And we're like, yeah, so, they do go back and, if they can't make it out to the shop again, they will buy online, so I think it does help.
What POS system do you use? And is it integrated with the website so that when you sell on the truck, it's deducted from the inventory?
No, and I hate it. I mean, I'm sure there's something I could do to integrate them. I just haven't looked into it that much. But we use the Square on the truck. We have the whole wireless setup.
Okay.
So we don't have to plug anything in because we do run on solar. So
cool.
The less we could plug in, the better.
I've never heard that.
Me neither.
Oh, really?
Yes.
For the little bit amount that really in any kind of mobile fashion truck that really has to be plugged in, depending on what POS system you're running, you have the generator option, or and that's no matter what, they're usually loud unless you're spending tons of money, and you really don't need that much power. You don't need that much wattage to run a lot of these systems. So we were looking at it, and we decided to go with the solar option. So, we have it so we can plug devices in if needed. All of our lights are wired directly into the solar. So we have all of our lights are LED lights. So, they take barely any power to begin with. And then like the POS, for Square, it's nice because we have our scanner and our printer are both wireless and Bluetooth. So they're basically just, they run a few days charged up, and then you bring them home and charge them if you had to, and you don't have to worry about anything really being plugged into the vehicle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's a good option for people who are building out their truck to consider.
And that system is nice too because, there's been a few events that are indoor events. So when you're going indoors, a lot of times different indoor events, if you need power, they want to charge you more anyway. So,
Right.
for us, we take the square stand with the iPad and, grab our wireless devices, and that's it.
Keep
Set
it
up shop
moving.
wherever, and,
Well, I definitely, all the listeners out there, you guys should check out everything, their website, like their style. I mean, when I say Estra always makes fun of me as I'm a design snob, but I really do love like the thought that you guys put into the design on the outside, the interior. Everything just kind of like comes together, and even like the toys, I'm like, oh, I need to buy some of these for my nieces. So it's really, I feel like you guys have like a really good, strong brand, which is pretty cool.
And it's tricky because when you just start off, a lot of people don't get it right. They don't know what their
Right.
brand is, so they do
Right.
some of everything.
As we wrap up here, we just have like a few questions to help the audience get to know you guys a little bit better. Um, do you guys have a favorite podcast, blog, magazine, book, you name it? And if so, what is it?
This is really the only podcast that we listen to. I'm not gonna lie. But like as far as magazines and stuff, definitely I'm interested in all the fashion magazines, and Steve is interested in all the car magazines. So.
Nice.
And woodworking.
Well, I'm still impressed that you were able to like trade a car for the truck. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
we got lucky.
It was, yeah. We were looking and looking, and the barter system's best.
Right.
That, so I was able to, and actually our cousin had a big enough trailer, so me and him went down and loaded the bread truck up and took it home, and just started going at it.
Yeah, that's.
I'll tell you one thing though that was kind of tricky with when we were doing that build was figuring out the steps.
Yeah.
Oh, because you wanted to make them where the kids can come up to, small enough.
Yeah, I mean the steps were kind of figuring out if we wanted to go with just a setup that you could, a lot of them are just regular wood steps built that you just set on the back. But then I was looking at it as if if there's only one of us, it's harder sometimes and it's a little bit heavier. So I went through a lot of, not really research, but we were just, tinkering with things at the garage and decided to do a hinge setup. So the steps fold right up on the back and everything's attached. You don't have to worry about it falling. And
oh wow!
It ended up.
And you built that out like yourself. You didn't even. Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I ended up. We had a couple options we were looking at, and I knew I kind of wanted to stick with the hinge. So it's pretty much directly bolted to the truck. So depending on the terrain that you're in, you just have to put, a little block under one side if so, and, and then I bent the piping for the handrail because you weren't going to find something that really fit that. So, everything was just, looking at it and figuring out, and I like doing that. I like trying to figure out how to build it myself over buying something usually.
Right. And
I'm
I feel
like
that's yeah, you are.
Like even the trunks. I mean, we wanted to hide the wheel wells, and I figured, well, why just make it so it still looks like a wheel well that's just covered with something? So we built pine, old little wooden trunks, and they're storage too for us. So you could have your backstock in there, and everything kind of went together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and it's awesome that you have like the ability to do that too. That you're like a handy person. Like, whereas me, I'm not that handy. Estrella is, and I'm not. So I'd be like, one, can I pay someone to do this? Or if I built it, it probably would fall apart. So, so I'm sure that saved you guys like thousands of dollars, just in total
definitely.
that, you guys are able to build everything out.
Yeah.
So if you guys could have any celebrity, entertainer, model, athlete, whoever kind of visit your mobile boutique, who would it be?
Always a favorite of Matthew McConaughey, but
Oh, he can drive up. He can drive
Yeah.
Lincoln.
I think the women would be lined up to get into the truck if you all just have him at the register and
Well, he actually has
He has an Airstream.
he has an
right?
Airstream that they started with their his T-shirt line. They actually have an
Really?
Airstream they go around with.
I didn't even know I gotta look that up. That's pretty cool. So he's technically he's a fashion truck owner too, or it's an Airstream or mobile boutique owner. No, that's pretty cool. I mean, no, all you would need him to do is park next to yours, and then
Right.
you get a ridiculous amount of traffic. What do you guys like to do in your free time just to wind down and de-stress?
Hang out with our dog. And I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I get relaxation and working on cars too sometimes, so I work on my little projects, but
you have to. I feel like you always have to have something else in order to kind of take your mind away. Mine is crafting whenever I can. Just gets me away from either the day to day or Astro working me to death.
Wait, what? Wait a minute.
And then Android or iPhone, and what's your favorite app?
iPhone, definitely. I don't understand the Android.
I've always liked the Android until we got the business. It's so much easier to have the iPhone because you could just AirDrop or whatever, everything from one device when we're taking photos on the phone to the iPad, and it's so much easier. But I don't know, I never got the hype of the iPhone, but it's not bad.
Business-wise, it's not bad.
What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?
I mean, I attempt anything because I don't believe that you could fail.
Right. Failure is not an option.
Like that answer.
I mean, you're only going to fail if you don't attempt anything. So you got to attempt everything and anything. I give everything a shot if I haven't tried it yet, whether it's, building furniture or anything like that or whatever's in the world. I'll go at it and see how it works. You only can learn.
I think I like your answer better than everybody else's. It's how are you going to fail if you don't try? Try everything. I love it.
You got to remember, it's not all ice cream and milkshakes out there. So
right, that's true. Well, where can people find you? Can you please let everyone know your website and any social media handles you want them to have?
You could find us on Instagram and Twitter, Alice and Hamish, and then we're on Facebook. And our website is aliceandhamish.com. And our email is aliceandhamish@gmail.com, so send us an email if you have any questions.
Well, Natalie and Steve, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. That was really cool. I think Natalie and Steve have an amazing concept.
They really do. And I think what a lot of the listeners will find kind of interesting, just as I do, is that their truck is ran solely off of solar power. So they don't have a generator. They don't have, what most of the mobile boutiques use. For all of their POS system is wireless, so they don't really need any electricity. And anything that's wired is fed directly into the solar panel. So that saves tons of money.
Yeah. And they don't need a heavy generator, because you know how we've had people complain about like having to pull it out and, put it back in the truck, and how kind of cumbersome that can be. So it sounds like with solar power, you don't even have to worry about any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the little tip, even for me as a vendor, that they gave for wholesalers, like, hey, come back to us, let us know
Right.
if you have new stuff.
Yeah, that gave me a little nudge too to contact some of the vendors the retailers that I've been dealing with. So I still haven't got on that yet, but it's on my list. Because I've been so busy though anyway. So it's just to get the quantity up that I need in order to have some still on hand for myself to sell and give, sell to the host, as wholesale. It's just too much right now. So sometimes there's a reason that the local designers don't reach out.
Yeah, that's true. Because even for me, I'm kind of really trying to really target what I want to do this summer and make sure that I don't overextend myself.
Mm-hmm.
We hope that you guys learned a lot from them. Definitely, we'll have all of their links in the show notes so you can see their cool pictures on Instagram. We didn't go into Instagram too much, but they definitely have like a theme and a brand there. It's kind of like these close-up shots of everything that they sell. I think they're a good example of being able to go to their account and you just know that it's them, because they have like a certain feel when it comes to the types of pictures they take. But anywho, we'll include a link to their website, their Instagram account, and their Facebook account. Definitely check out their pictures. They're very inspirational, especially for those of you who are trying to think of ideas of what to do with your truck. Like theirs is a little bit more fun, but just sometimes seeing, I don't know, things with colors and patterns will inspire you to like do, something different and funky, and you want to be seen.
Oh, and speaking of ideas, I totally forgot to mention this, but this is probably the best thing ever, is that when Steve was looking for his car on Craigslist, he found one and he actually used the barter system in order to get his truck. He traded his 1980 VW Rabbit diesel car in exchange for the truck. So no cash. Come on now. How awesome is that? So people, you can't say that you can't get a truck or you can't afford it. You got to get creative. Get creative. There's always a way. Just find somebody who's willing to wheel and deal. I'm gonna see what I can trade for a vehicle. I want a Mercedes. What can I trade for that?
Wow. That's going to be one heck of a trade.
I know, right? We'll see, though.
Yeah, and as a total aside, maybe we'll have like a future podcast or blog post about this, but I am experimenting with Snapchat. Don't roll your eyes, Estrell. I'm trying to get Estrell on too, but she hasn't joined yet. But if you want to join me on this adventure, follow me at Creative Route. Okay? I think for you truck owners,
it's not gonna happen. I'm just telling you right now, it's not gonna happen. It's 2016 and I just signed up for a Flickr account.
God.
Okay.
I've got so much to say about that.
I know you do.
Because Flickr now is more like, it's like a storage. And it's good to send people there, I guess, if you have like maybe a portfolio of items, sort of, but it's no longer kind of this, it's sort of photo sharing, but not really, So that is kind of weird that it is 2016 and you're just now getting on.
So darn it, I missed the trend.
So I'm trying to get Estrell to join me on Snapchat because here's the thing, folks. I've been reading a lot and I've been hearing a lot on my podcast that Snapchat is not going away. It's actually getting more popular. I tried to resist. I think maybe even on the podcast, I said I would refuse. I refused to join it. But now I was like, you know what? I have to give it a try. If this is the thing that a lot of people are going to because they like it because it's quick and easy, I got to understand it and know it. So as I learn more about Snapchat, I will pass on tips and tricks. And when Astrell joins, we'll continue to learn from each other and we can give you guys tips and you guys could go on this journey with us if you're not already there. So find me, create a route. That's all I got to say. Next week, we'll announce what Astrell's Snapchat name is. If you want to send us a message, please go to @FFT_official_ Twitter and let us know if you learned anything from this episode or just kind of start a conversation with us. You could also find us with the same handle on Instagram, everywhere else, including Pinterest and Facebook. You can just look up Find a Fashion Truck and you'll find us. And we look forward to hearing from you. And of course, as always, you can leave comments on our show notes and you can find all the links that they've mentioned and all the social media handles I just mentioned on this episode's notes.
All right, people. Until next time. Thanks for parking here.
Bye.